Forget about the iPhone 17. The iPhone 18 that comes out next year will be far faster. New buildings and ways of doing things. Analyst Ming-Chi Kuo says that Apple will reveal the iPhone 17 series in less than a month, but I might miss it for the iPhone 18. The supply chain analyst says in his most recent letter that the A20 processor being built for the iPhone next year will get a huge improvement. The source says that Eternal Materials got a packaging order from TSMC. The company will be working on the iPhone 18 series and M5 MacBooks. Eternal Materials received the TSMC contract as part of a number of modifications that are happening with the A20 chip. In the second half of 2026, the iPhone 18's A20 CPU packaging will change from info to wafer-level multi-chip module. Kuo says, Wafer-level Multi-Chip Module uses molding under fill, which combines the processes of underfilling and molding to use less material and fewer steps, which increases yield and efficiency. Why is this significant? WMCM makes it possible to put different parts in the same package. This implies Apple can have more complex systems where the iPhone's CPU, GPU, DRAM, and other pieces are on the same box, which can be stacked vertically or side by side. This arrangement is designed to be more versatile. On a basic level, the A20 should be both smaller and more power efficient. This should physically bring it closer to the actual memory of the device, which will maximize performance and possibly minimize power usage. This corresponds with prior claims regarding Apple employing TSMC 2 nanometer technology on the A20. Between the new architecture and the 2 nanometer technology, it means the iPhone 18 is in for some substantial improvements. Current rumors claim that the Pro versions will get the 2 nanometer chipsets. Kuo doesn't state, but it looks like every iPhone 18 will get the new wafer-level multi-chip module container. Presumably, this enhancement will make Apple Intelligence tasks work better. Apple should have improved its AI approach by next fall. A version of Siri 2.0 is planned to launch in early 2026. The iPhone 17 won't be a slouch. It is said to be built on a new generation of TSMC 3 nanometer technology, so it should be more powerful than the existing A18 Pro in the iPhone 16 Pro variants. Apple is anticipated to introduce the iPhone 17 in September during its next big event. We should also see new Apple Watches and probably updated Apple AirPods Pro 3. Next, iPhone 17 Pro Max, iPhone 14 Pro Max, biggest projected upgrades. The iPhone 14 Pro Max has proven to be a terrific phone since its 2022 introduction, but there's no denying that it's beginning to show its age when compared to some of the best phones you can buy right now. And with the iPhone 17 Pro Max release on the horizon, the stage is set for a potential iPhone 17 Pro Max versus iPhone 14 Pro Max upgrade decision. A lot of iPhone 17 Pro Max speculations have already surfaced, giving us some sense of what to expect when Apple shows us its new phone range, possibly as soon as next month at a fall launch event. But if you have been following up on all the chatter of what Apple's reportedly planned need to fret, we can walk you through the expected changes based on what's slipped out so far. How much will the iPhone evolve over the course of 3 years? Our comparison looks at all the available upgrades. When the iPhone 14 Pro Max launched in September 2022, the base 128 gigs model cost $1,099. It won't be apparent what Apple expects to charge for its next phone, but it will likely be more than that. The iPhone 15 Pro Max, released a year after the iPhone 14 Pro Max, boosted the starting price for Apple's premium phone to $1,199, and that price persisted with last year's iPhone 16 Pro Max, which was released with a starting price of $1,199. At best, we anticipate the iPhone 17 Pro Max will also remain that price, while global economic conditions, including tariffs, could cause iPhone 17 price hikes. On the positive side, at least you're getting more phone for your money. When Apple hiked the cost of its Pro Max model, it also reduced the 128 gig storage. The iPhone 17 Pro Max should continue to offer 256 gigs as the storage for its base model, double what the iPhone 14 Pro Max arrived with. For the most part, Apple's phones haven't actually altered all that much in terms of design in recent years, but that could be changing with the iPhone 17 Pro series. According to multiple reports, the iPhone 17 Pro Max will include an extended camera bar that takes up the full upper third of the phone's rear panel, instead of just the corner camera array that the iPhone 14 Pro Max sports. It's an unusual style, however, for aficionados of Apple's more simple design, it may not be much of an attraction. Pro model screen sizes rose with the iPhone 16 series, and the iPhone 17 Pro Max should keep the 6.9-inch panel introduced by its predecessor. That's increased screen space from the iPhone 14 Pro Max's 6.7-inch display. On top of that, the dynamic island will supposedly be smaller on the newer phone. The bigger screen means a somewhat larger phone, as the iPhone 16 Pro Max measures 6.42 by 3.06 by 0.32 inches, compared to the 6.33 by 3.05 by 0.31 inch of the iPhone 14 Pro Max. The iPhone 14 Pro Max includes 3 rear cameras, a 48 megapixels main shooter, joined by 12 megapixels ultra-wide and zoom lenses. The latter camera features a 3x zoom. At the time, that was an excellent system, but things have changed with camera phones in the ensuing 3 years, particularly with Apple's succeeding iPhone models. The optical zoom offered on Pro iPhones is now 5x, while the iPhone 16 Pro models introduced a 48 megapixels ultra-wide sensor to the mix. The iPhone 17 Pro Max figures to introduce more changes, as speculations say the new Pro versions will be the first iPhones to offer a triple of 48 megapixels lenses. That implies you're likely to be looking at a 48 megapixels primary, 48 megapixels telephoto, and 48 megapixels ultra-wide cameras on the iPhone 17 Pro Max. The improved telephoto lens may see its optical zoom capabilities decreased to 3.5x, but that's still a minor gain over the iPhone 14 Pro Max zooming capabilities. And those close-ups will be taken at a greater resolution. Up front, all iPhone 17 models are rumored to have a 24 megapixels selfie cam, double the resolution of the iPhone 14 Pro Max's 12 megapixels true depth camera. According to Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, Apple is seeking to specifically attract filmmakers and content creators with the iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max. Among the reported improvements is support for dual video capture that would enable you to use both the front and rear cameras concurrently. At the time of its debut, the iPhone 14 Pro Max rated among the top-performing phones, thanks to its A16 chip being the first constructed utilizing a 4-nanometer technology. Newer chips have caught up, even outperformed the A16, though, and that includes Apple's own iPhones. Recent models have used Apple-designed CPUs made on a 3-nanometer technology, which has meant advances in both overall performance and power efficiency. So when the iPhone 17 Pro Max shows out inevitably powered by A19 Pro hardware, it should handily outsuckle the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Like Apple's current chipsets, the A19 Pro is believed to use the same 3-nanometer technology. Another potential boost in iPhone 17 Pro Max performance could come in the shape of a vapor chamber, which could be included on an iPhone for the first time. The feature distributes heat so that performance may keep steady, even when there are loads of processing demands. Furthermore, Apple is likely to enhance RAM on its iPhones, with the iPhone 17 series set to provide 12 gigs. That compared to 6 gigs of memory on board the iPhone 14 Pro Max. The iPhone 14 Pro Max is among the devices that support iOS 26, which you can presently download as a public beta. That's the same software that will run on the iPhone 17 devices that release in the fall. But devices like the iPhone 17 Pro Max can do something the iPhone 14 Pro Max can't, even if it's running Apple's latest iPhone software, support Apple Intelligence capabilities. The iPhone 14 Pro just doesn't have the processor or the RAM to run Apple's suite of AI-powered applications. The iPhone 14 Pro Max boasts a relatively excellent 4,323 mAh battery, which managed to maintain a charge for 13 hours and 39 minutes in our test. That was pretty decent at that time, but Apple's batteries have gotten better. The iPhone 16 Pro Max rates well on our top phone battery life list with its 17-hour-plus time. The iPhone 17 Pro Max would try to beat that, not only with a more power-efficient processor, but a speculated 5,000 mAh battery. There's also talk of an improved Qi2 wireless charging standard appearing by the time the iPhone 17 Pro Max comes out, bringing a possible bump in wireless charging speeds to as fast as 50 watt. 3 years is a long time in the smartphone business, so the available changes on the iPhone 17 Pro Max over the iPhone 14 Pro Max will likely be rather big. That not only applies for the items that have changed in Apple's last 2 iPhone upgrades, but for the new capabilities being predicted for this fall's model. As a result, an iPhone 17 Pro Max versus iPhone 14 Pro Max comparison should point to a considerably enhanced phone. A more powerful processor, bigger battery, and more competent cameras are all in the cards for the future edition. But a significant part in determining whether iPhone 14 Pro Max customers would update or not may come down to pricing. If the iPhone 17 Pro Max does cost more, will all those enhancements make it worth the expense of switching? We should get an answer to that question pretty shortly. So that's all we know for now. We'll be sure to keep you updated as soon as we have more information. Thanks for watching.